Hello and welcome to the Dr. Mumbi Show. My name is Dr. Mumbi Saraki. How you doing? How's everything going? I really do pray that you are well, fam, in all your ways and that you are living your best life. Thanks to everybody that has subscribed to the channel. You guys are absolutely amazing. Go ahead and subscribe if you haven't already. Check out our Dr. Mumbi Live as well, or Dr. Mumbi Show, wherever you are on this. We're grateful that you could join us, and definitely consider, supporting our alternative platform. Can't even speak today. What? Thanks to everyone who has supported us through our PayPal and our Patreon accounts. Really, really appreciate, love you. And we've actually, used part of that blessing or rising. If you guys can give me another word for blessing, that would be great. To do something great in our community, and we couldn't have been able to do it without you. So we'll be sharing that video very, very soon. So some very interesting news coming out of Nigeria, where police have arrested and paraded two Chinese men for illegal mining in a remote area called Zamfara, Nigeria. Now, the police actually paraded the two Chinese nationals after arresting them for allegedly engaging in illegal mining in Bukuyu local government area of state. And what happened is that a year ago, the Nigerian federal government actually announced that there would be, they banned all mining activities in Zamfara state. And, as part of efforts, because there was a lot of cattle rustling and armed banditry going on, as well as illegal mining. But this is what shows you the power of the people. So these Chinese men and some people from Burkina, I think it's Burkinabo. Is that Burkina Faso people? I don't know. Some villagers saw them move into, a small village and start being like, seeking shelter there. So they near a place called Nasarawa. Yeah, Nasarawa. And, the locals actually contacted the local police chief, a gentleman called Shehu. And he said that, they had received multiple reports that Chinese, together with unpatriotic Nigerians, were engaged in illegal mining in a place called Kwali Bukuyum. So, in his words, Shehu's words, he says, on the strength, of the information, the State Commissioner of Police, Mr. Usam Nagogo, led a special task force, task team to Kwali mining. We also have Kwale. That's why I'm like, what? We have Kwale mining in Kenya. Weird. Sites to assess and see things for himself. The information proved to be credible, a credible one, as hundreds of miners scattered as soon as they saw the team. Two laborers were arrested to confirm the presence of Chinese and Burkinabo people, among others. The two Chinese, identified as Mr. Wang and Mr. Chun, were arrested and are being interrogated to get more information that could help the course of the interrogation. And he went on to say that, first on the 25th, they received information the Chinese moved in. And then on the 26th, they were seen with all the chemicals for making gold. So it looks like our people are not sleeping. And this is where, in Kenya, we have something called Nyumba Kumi, which is like 10 homes. And you should know all the, I guess that's what it is. Like, you should know your neighbor, check up on your neighbor. They wanted to make it some kind of big brotherhood, but this is the kind of thing where people on the ground, if you see something suspicious, record it on your phone, send it to your peoples, send it to your younger peoples who can make it go viral. Get in touch with your area police. There's a lot of tension right now, and people are on the alert because we've seen how our people are being treated in China, and there are a lot of illegal things they're doing. And no one should just be doing things illegal in any country. Do you think you as a Kenyan or as a Ugandan or as a Nigerian could go deep into China and start mining gold or mining anything? Why do we allow these things to happen in our own nations? It's so bizarre. It's like our presidents are bewitched or something. It's like they've been bewitched by this paper money, and now the economic system has collapsed. How are they going to look at themselves in their face, in the mirror? How? When they are as bad as the slave master, man, some of these guys. But it just shows you what can happen on the ground. It doesn't need to take the president or those people, but there's a lot that can happen on the ground, and we have to be the ones that protect our nature, our nations, our communities, the little you have. Keep an eye out. Report, record, expose. because there's a lot of power in our voice, fam. There's a lot of power in our voice. And we've seen it since 2018, where African governments have been forced to bow because of what their citizens said online. And if that's the only power we've got right now, then let's exercise it well. Until next time. Mwah.
Let me say something to that, because I think this kind of discussion, which has gone on for a very long time around, sounds a bit cynical in a sense. In fact, it's like the tragic situation of 1994 isn't considered even a violation of human rights. It has now gone into the background. Those who are responsible for it, those who are associated with it, are now talking about something else. According to them, the situation in Rwanda is that of human rights violation, even more than that tragic situation. I think that's what we are talking about. So,
well, just for example, there was Amnesty International wrote a report in the lead up to the 2017 election that talks about opposition politicians, journalists, human rights defenders being jailed, physically attacked, even killed.
I think you're interested in
forced into exile or silence. So I'm just interested in your idea of that assessment
raising
of your country.
Your views to the audience so that you influence them by what
the European Union sees itself very much as an exporter of human rights and a defender of human rights.
So why can't you let me answer this?
I'm very interested
Otherwise,
in your answer.
you are going to ask and then answer yourself.
I'm very interested in your answer. I'm giving you some context on why I'm asking.
You're asking and giving answer at the same time. So
please tell me, what do you make of this assessment?
I think it's just ridiculous, because there is nothing like human rights minus these things we are talking about. What we are talking about in terms of development. These are human rights. Development, schools, education, health, and food security. And, you know, when you see now, the level of poverty has decreased almost by 60%. So these people, these human beings with improved lives and participating in that themselves to improve their own lives, gets lost in what the whole list you've been spelling out as if, you know, what is in Rwanda is really hell. In fact, forgetting the hell that we have gone through, that we stood against and sorted out when you were there just talking about more or less nonsense. Because
do you reject the accusations, for example, from Amnesty International?
Absolute rubbish.
You reject
Rwanda
that?
is completely different from what it was 25 years ago. In fact, maybe you need to be looking around in Europe. You are violating people's rights. When we have this problem of people being bundled and sent back to sink in the Mediterranean and so on, and so many people being mistreated in your own countries. Why don't you talk about your human rights and stop just offloading everything?
Well, this is a development conversation, so in the context of development.
You are not the one to determine what conversation or what points to raise in any conversation. You are asking questions, this is what I'm saying. You are asking questions and you are giving yourself answers. You really need to stop this superiority complex nonsense about human rights. You think you are the only ones who respect human rights, or others it's about violating human rights. No, we've fought for human rights and freedoms of our people much better and more than anyone, including you people who keep talking about this nonsense. Where we have taken our country from and where it is now speaks for itself. The rest of the stories just comes from this complex. You know, these two worlds where there are people who know everything about human rights and all kinds of things, and another world where people are just people who don't know. But these are our human rights. It's not, when we respect the things we respect in our countries, it's not for you, it's not for anybody else, it's for ourselves.
Is it not
so
universal?
You don't sit there. Yes, it is universal, but you don't sit there. If it is universal and you believe it, then you don't become the judge yourself. You don't start telling the others what to do, what they should not to do, or that what they are doing is not to your satisfaction. Who are you?
Well, I'm not sure if we're talking about me personally.
Well, you are the one actually raising these questions. So I think you better interpret it properly so that it is well understood.
Okay.
I could see you asking questions in a manner that you want to influence the ones listening to us. But that's not correct.
Okay. Yeah. I'm raising it once again in the context of the United Nations Development Goals.
No, United Nations is us. You see, United Nations is not something alien somewhere else. Yeah. It's actually us. We participate.
And the framework for this entire development.
And by the way, I had been leading the Millennium Development Goals before Sustainable Development Goals. I was the co-chair of that, with other leaders and some of the leaders in Europe. So you don't turn around, it's like you want...
So you believe that there should be scrutiny on human rights in Europe, in Africa,
No, I believe that you shouldn't be there belittling Africans or leaders of Africa who are trying to...
Oh no, but the conversation about migration is a real conversation about human rights. So you believe that there are valid human rights concerns to be taken into account in this conversation?
Even in Europe, not in Africa.
Not in Africa?
In Europe. In Europe, not only in Africa.
Not, of course.
Yes.
Well, thank you both very much. Unfortunately, that is all we have time for. President Paul Kagame of Rwanda and the EU's Development Commissioner, Neven Mimiza. Thank you both for your time. Thank you as well for... Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up.